Google Discover can contribute significantly to your website traffic. I know of a publisher who's gone from 10 million monthly uniques to 25 million monthly uniques by tailoring content for Google Discover. Other publishers I spoke to saw as much as 30% of their monthly traffic coming in via Google Discover. So what exactly is Google Discover and how are news publishers cracking the code? Hello, I'm Aditya Shenoy and I've spent the past 10 years working in some of the best publications in India, serving close to 40 million uniques monthly. I've seen the magic of Google Discover for my articles, and here's how you can see it too. So what is Google Discover? Google Discover is a news feed that pushes content to people based on their interest and web browsing history. The feed is available on the -1 screen on Android smartphones. Now, the screen you see when you swipe right from the home screen. It's also within the Google app and on the Google Chrome browser, which is a pretty huge audience if you ask me. Take a look at it. For publishers, this is good news. Google is pushing your content to people who might be interested in reading it. Let me give you an example here. Say you are a sports publisher who covers cricket. Google Discover will start showing your content in the feed for people who are interested in the sport. People don't have to look for your content. Publishers don't have to distribute it in any specific way. It's a win-win. But like all good things, there is a catch here. Appearing on Google Discover isn't very easy. What's tougher than getting onto Google Discover is staying there to make it a steady stream of traffic for your website. Google Discover is a great source of traffic for digital publishers. But how can you end up on Google Discover? Now, I don't want to get your hopes too high. There is no short way to get onto Google Discover. However, the tips I will share will help increase your website's chances of featuring there. Google Discover is available only on mobile devices. So the first step is to ensure that your content is optimized for mobiles. If you aren't sure, I'll be adding a link to test your link for mobile friendliness in the description. You can also check if your whole website is mobile friendly in Google Web Console. If it isn't, the checker will also show errors to help you identify a fix for it. Try out Google Web Stories if you haven't. Google Stories are similar to Instagram Stories and provide quick, snackable content for the audience to consume. Occasionally, Google Discover has a tiny section with a carousel just for web stories, offering much higher visibility. Once a viewer hops onto one web story, they can continue to browse multiple web stories by browsing continuously. So even if your viewer does not click your story at first, it might still be displayed to them while they scroll. I would recommend you to create stories on trending topics or topics that your target audience often consumes. For example, a consumer technology news website can cover articles of the best deals on electronics just before the festive season, or a leaks roundup just before a product launch, since that is what the target audience would be looking for. You've seen Google Discover and you know that it is packed with catchy images. Google recommends using high quality images that are at least 1200 pixels wide. You should add the max image preview large robots meta tag so that Google can show the image preview at max resolution. You can also use videos that are relevant to your topic. Media-rich articles grab user attention well and are more likely to help you score a click from the user. Google can determine the presence of a photo or a video in your content and is more likely to push your content over other publishers that aren't creating media-rich content. Page titles for your articles must capture the essence of the article. Use the page title to inform the audience while generating curiosity to know more. Do not use clickbaity titles. Google explicitly warns against this in Discover guidelines. Ensure that your meta description are correct and capture the crux of your content very well. Here's an interesting finding. A survey by Search Engine Journal revealed that only 46% of the content served on Google Discover were from news publishers. But surprisingly, it drives 99% of the clicks on Google Discover. It's evident that a lot of people use Discover to catch up on the latest news. So if you are a news publisher pushing out the latest news in a timely fashion, it will increase your chances of featuring there. As a result, it can be a major source of traffic for you. Do note that news has a relatively short lifespan on Google Discover, and it is likely to generate a spike in traffic that would last 3 to 4 days. You will need to keep appearing on Discover to have a steady traffic stream. Since Google Discover suggests content to people, it always prioritizes fresh content. Publishers that push out the latest updates frequently stand a chance to feature on Google Discover. To increase your chances, cover trending topics that people are searching for. This will increase the chances of Google on covering articles, and stories on trending topics will help improve visibility on Discover. As hard as it is to believe, evergreen content fares much better than news articles on Discover. In fact, it has the potential to bring in steady traffic for a longer duration compared to latest news articles. Thoroughly researched, well-written articles is good for SEO in general, but it is a bonus for Google Discover. If you have written an evergreen article on a topic, do update such content in a timely manner to ensure that it has the most accurate data. For example, you have a listicle on the best gadgets for gifting. I would suggest that you update this article with up-to-date information just before the holiday season. This way, you're increasing your chances of appearing on Google Discover, since your content is evergreen and up-to-date. To further increase your chances, focus on EEAT. This term has been thrown around a lot, but what does it mean? So EEAT stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Google looks for all these factors when it ranks a website in general, and it is instrumental for Discover as well. Your authors should be subject matter experts in the article they're writing and need to have decent experience in the field. Your website needs to have the authority in the niche you're covering, which only comes after years of delivering unbiased, genuinely helpful content. Some of the best news publications have gained authority by accurate, unbiased, and timely reporting. You need to continue posting news articles about your niche, covering different perspectives in order to gain experience and authoritativeness. A sure way of increasing your chances of appearing on Discover is to cover stories on current trends and interests. Bringing in unique insights, new angles, and storytelling will ensure that your story is well received by the audience. A clear title that is intriguing will also help people to click through to the story. For example, a news publication can publish a story on pre-poll survey before the elections or a know your candidate story, since this will be the information that people will be actively searching for. Similarly, sports publications can run an analysis piece before a football match to serve audiences that would be interested in knowing an expert take on how the match can turn out. Google Discover will not showcase your content if ads and sponsored content exceed original content. So if your page has too many ad banners, your chances of appearing in Discover are slim. Discover guidelines also state that sponsored content masked as editorial will not be discovered by people. Either way, it isn't a good practice, since sponsored content is required to be marked as sponsored for the audience to distinguish. Google Discover has a follow feature, which allows people to follow your content on their Discover feed. Once a user follows a publisher, latest content pieces by the publisher are visible to the user's Discover feed without any other requirement. It is a strong signal for Google to recommend your content to other people who have the same preference. It is also a great way to build a following of readers to consume your content. The best way to get readers is to have well-written content pieces, exclusive news stories, and opinion pieces from time to time. This also helps build authoritativeness in your niche. Lastly, if your content violates Google's content policy, it will not be ranked. Plain and simple. I've dropped in a link of Google Discover's content policy for you to take a look, but I'll quickly summarize it here. Any hateful content, dangerous content, hateful media, and violence will not make it to Discover. An example of a clickbait article: "You'll not believe what happens next." Well, if that sounds familiar, it won't make it to Google Discover. So this was a guide to help publishers crack the Google Discover code. Have I missed out on anything? If I have, do mention it in the comments so that your fellow publishers can learn and implement it. Before I leave, I want to urge publishers to not chase Google Discover traffic. It is less predictable and dependable than traditional Google search. That's all from me in this video. I'll see you in the next one.